Hello and welcome back. This week we are going to discuss, it's going to be a very short lecture video, and we're going to discuss what you need to do for chapter 6 for this week. Um, Mainly what we're going to do for this chapter is your goal is going to be to read chapter 6, and then you're going to practice one of the note-taking styles that we were learning about from chapter 7, which is note-taking by the book. So the goal for this is, as you're reading the chapter, you basically want to construct notes where you're taking down all of the main points to all of the main sections that are in the chapter. And then you need to write down all of the supporting evidence for any of the main points that you find. So your note taking should be really, really thorough, and you should construct your notes basically in whichever way that you want. So you can actually use this as a practice if you wanted to try one of the other note taking styles that you had never tried before. Because some of you had expressed interest that you normally did outlining, but you wanted to maybe try mind mapping for certain classes, or you wanted to try doing the Cornell system of note taking for certain classes where you think it might be better for you to use that note taking style in different classes, because a lot of times different subjects, it is a lot more, I would say, beneficial to be able to use, let's say, mind mapping if you need some sort of visual, or you need like timelines or things like that. And if we weren't taught these different ways to take notes, and then we don't really get the chance to practice it, we may never try it or pick it up because we're so used to the way that we've always done note taking in the past. So this is your opportunity to not only practice note taking by the book, because this is a really good way to, not only when you're doing your reading, it gives you something physical to do because you're taking down notes as you are reading the chapter, but it's also in a way a sort of a repetition because you're reading, but then you're also writing down main points, supporting evidence, and it's sort of bringing all that information back up a second time around as you're thinking about what you need to be writing down, what information you need to be putting as supporting evidence for your notes. And so it's actually a really good way to study, because if you are in classes that they expect you to do reading and that you have to get a lot of the information for your testing based off of your own reading that you have to do, because some professors don't necessarily give you all of the information in classes. A lot of times they expect you to read your textbook to get some of the additional information that you need in order to do well on their tests. And so this is a really good exercise that I've been doing with my college life and strategies classes for probably about the past 3 years. I started doing this when I was still teaching face-to-face classes. And so I would actually have my class come in, sit down in class, and the whole entire hour and 15 minutes that we had in class, I had them get their books out. I was like, okay, you're going to start on chapter 6 and you're going to practice note taking by the book. And I heard a lot of grumbling right at first because people, it's odd. It's not something that you normally do in the classroom where somebody tells you to sit down and read your book. But I was having them practice note taking. And by the time they were starting to turn in their notes and they were getting all of that, I had a lot of comments that people were actually happy that they practiced it, because no one had ever presented that to them before. While doing your reading, why don't you try taking notes? So that way you can actually not only get notes that you can use for studying later on, but it also is a way for you to retain more of the information. Because if any of you are like me, a lot of times when I had to read my textbook, I was reading it and I was reading the words, but I wasn't retaining all of it, because either the amount that I had to read, or maybe I was tired, or there was a lot of things, in college that could have kept me from really being able to focus and pay attention to what it was that I was reading. And I wasn't really retaining a lot of the information. And I never had anybody suggest to me to actually take notes while I was doing my reading. And that way, if I did kind of blank out for some of it, I actually had notes that I was taking down that I would have been able to study and look back on, and I wouldn't necessarily have to go back and read the whole entire chapter again when it came time to study for a test. So this is what you all are going to do. You can do this on notebook paper if you want to take notes, just like you would if you were sitting in class in a lecture. You can do this like on a Microsoft Word document if you would rather type out your notes. Just make sure that if you write it out, that your handwriting is legible, so I'll be able to read it. And you're going to turn in basically every single page of your notes. And for most people, when they do this assignment, if they're being thorough and they're taking very thorough notes like I'm asking for, there's going to usually be several pages of notes, because it's not a very long chapter, but there's a lot of really good information about online learning in this chapter. And so I have done this assignment a lot, and I'm very familiar with what the main points are, what supporting evidence there is for it. So there are a lot of things that I'm going to be looking for that I should be able to see in your notes if you're actually thoroughly taking notes while you're doing your reading for this. And that is basically it for chapter 6. You're basically taking your own notes to help you get the information that you need for the chapter. There is also the PowerPoint summary for the chapter that is in the week 13 folder if you are in my 16 weeks class, and I believe it will be in the week 6 or 7 folder if you're in my 8 weeks class. And so you can look through that PowerPoint as well, because a lot of times those PowerPoints kind of highlight some of the main points. So if you need to kind of look at that to go, okay, did I actually hit on all the main points? Did I read it? Because, sometimes we do tend to kind of become unfocused when we're reading, especially if we have distractions and things going on. So I hope that this is helpful for you, especially if it's something that you can use for other classes. If you're in a class that you have a professor that expects you to do a lot of reading out of your textbook and get some of the information yourself, this might be a good tool for you to use down the line where you can actually take notes while you're reading. And then that way, hopefully you're retaining more of the information from the reading as you're kind of going along and physically taking notes and having to think about what's good main points, what are the things that are supporting those main points in the chapter. But if you have any questions this week, if you're not sure about anything for this assignment, just send me an email and I'll answer you. And I hope everyone is being safe. And I know we're all kind of at this point when I'm doing this video, we're all still probably quarantined or having to do social distancing. And so it's been rough for everyone, I'm sure. And so I hope you all are doing okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you are on the main dashboard for Canvas, there should be an announcement that you see on the main dashboard before you enter any of your classes. And it's like a COVID-19 relief. I guess the school is offering internet for students if you do not have internet, or if there's some issue like that. Some of you might be using your cell phone service to be able to get into your classes and things like that, because a lot of people are going through some hardships right now with jobs being kind of on hold and things like that. So if you do have an issue like that, where maybe internet access is something that you're not able to get right now, I would just check out that link that you'll see on the dashboard before you enter any of the Canvas classes and click on it, because it'll have more information. I'm pretty sure most people qualify for it, but you want to read through it and see if you actually do, and if that's something that you're interested in or that you need. So go ahead and check that out. And then I can't think of anything else of other announcements or anything like that. But anyway, have a good week. I hope everyone's staying well, and I will see you all next week. We're getting close to the end, so just stick with it. I know it's kind of rough. The times are weird right now, so just stick with it. Keep doing your assignments. Try to get them submitted on time, and we're almost there. We're almost done. All right. I will see you all next time.